How do you spot toxic people before they show their true colors? Because let's be honest, most toxic people don't introduce themselves as toxic. They don't walk around with warning labels. In the beginning, they're often charming, friendly, helpful. That's why so many people find themselves trapped in unhealthy friendships, relationships, and work environments. The signs were there. They just weren't obvious. So here are a few early warning signs you should never ignore. The first one is how they react to boundaries. Healthy people may not always like your boundaries, but they usually respect them. Toxic people often take boundaries personally. The moment you say no, they become distant, passive-aggressive, or suddenly make you feel guilty. Why? Because boundaries remove their control. And people who benefit from having access to you rarely enjoy being limited. The second sign is that they constantly talk badly about other people. Pay attention to this. If someone spends all their time criticizing friends, family, co-workers, and ex-partners, you are getting a preview of how they will eventually talk about you. At first, it feels like you're on the inside, like you're special. But eventually, you'll become part of the conversation too. The third sign is subtle. They make everything about themselves. You tell a story. They immediately redirect it back to their own experience. You share a problem. They somehow become the victim. You achieve something. They find a way to make it about them. Relationships should feel like a two-way street, not a one-person show. Another warning sign is how they handle accountability. Nobody is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But toxic people have a strange relationship with responsibility. Nothing is ever their fault. There's always an excuse, a reason, someone else to blame. And if you pay attention long enough, you'll notice a pattern. Every story they tell has the same ending. They're always the victim. The world is always against them. And somehow, everyone else is the problem. Here's another one that people miss. They secretly enjoy bad news. Not openly, subtly. You tell them about a setback, and they seem unusually interested. You tell them about a success, and suddenly the energy changes. The conversation becomes shorter, less enthusiastic, almost uncomfortable. Some people love you, but only when you're struggling. Another sign is confusion. Healthy people create clarity. Toxic people create confusion. You leave conversations replaying everything in your head, wondering what they meant, wondering if you're overreacting, wondering why you suddenly feel guilty. A good relationship shouldn't feel like a psychological puzzle. Here's another important one. They test small boundaries before crossing bigger ones. It starts with little things. Ignoring your preferences, disrespecting your time, taking more than they give, making jokes at your expense, pushing your comfort zone. Nothing dramatic. Just enough for you to question whether you're overreacting. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. Because toxic behavior rarely arrives all at once. It arrives in small doses. One compromise at a time. One excuse at a time. One red flag at a time. Until you wake up one day wondering how things got this bad. And perhaps the biggest sign of all, you consistently feel worse after spending time with them. Drained, anxious, confused, emotionally exhausted. Not every difficult person is toxic. But your mind and body often notice problems before your logic does. Pay attention to that feeling. Because healthy relationships generally leave you feeling respected, understood, safe, not constantly walking on eggshells. The truth is, you don't need to become paranoid. You don't need to analyze every person you meet. But you do need to stop ignoring what is right in front of you. Because toxic people rarely destroy relationships overnight. They do it gradually. And most of the damage happens because we keep giving the benefit of the doubt long after the evidence has arrived. We want the friendship to work. We want the relationship to work. We want to believe the best. And sometimes that's exactly what gets us into trouble. So the next time you notice a red flag, don't immediately explain it away. Don't assume it will magically disappear. Pay attention, because the people you allow into your life will influence your peace, your confidence, your self-worth, and sometimes even your future. Choose carefully.